Are you praying for your future spouse? Here's why you should. Many people spend so much time wondering who their future spouse will be, but very few people take the time to pray for that person before they even meet them. This is what you're going to talk about, the power of praying for your future spouse and why it's one of the most important things you can do for your future marriage if you're not married by now. If you're married, you need to continue praying. If you're in your early stages of marriage or in however long you've stayed, it's important to pray for your partner. But we are specifically talking about those who are single and intending to get married. Prayer is not just a request for what you want. It is an intentional act of faith. By praying for your future spouse, you're asking God to guide both of you on the path that brings you together at the right time, in the right way. Philippians chapter 4 verse 6 tells us that do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. Forgive me for my voice is a little coarse today. I've had some cold in the last few days. That's why I've not made videos in the last 3 to 4 days. Today, at least, I'm a little bit well. That's why I've decided to make this video again. So, the prayer includes praying for your future spouse. That means you're entrusting God with your desires and asking for His wisdom and guidance. So, why do you need to pray for your future spouse? Even before you find them, or even after you find them. When you start praying for your future spouse, it shows you trust. You trust your God. It shows your trust in God's timing. You're surrendering control and asking for His will to be done in your life, instead of rushing to find someone on your own terms. I talk about this as well in my book, Ready for Marriage, about how prayer creates a spiritual foundation for your marriage even before you meet your future spouse. You're not only praying for their qualities, but also for God to prepare you to be the best spouse you can be. So this is how prayer shapes you. Prayer is not just about asking for a perfect spouse. It's about asking God to shape both of you into the kind of people who can have a Christ-centered and loving marriage. Praying prepares you emotionally, spiritually, and mentally. You become more open to growth, more patient, and more trusting in God's plan. As you pray, ask God to help you work on areas in your life that need improvement. Maybe you need more patience, more trust, or more healing from past relationships. Pray for God to refine you in preparation for your future marriage. So, how do you specifically pray for your future spouse? Number one, pray for their relationship with God. Pray for your future spouse relationship with God. A marriage built on faith starts with two people who love God first. Ask God to strengthen their faith and keep them rooted in Christ. Second thing, pray for their character. Pray for the character of your future spouse. Ask God to cultivate in them qualities like kindness, patience, and humility. These qualities will be true building blocks for your future relationship and very important so that they can grow in this culture of kindness, patience, and humility becomes part of their life. That is their character. Pray for, again, their emotional health. Ask God to heal any past hurts that they may have or they may be carrying from the past, and to protect their heart as they prepare to meet you. Of course, you need to pray yourself for your emotional health too. You're healing from the past, apart from praying for your future spouse. The fourth thing is that pray for your future together. Ask God to prepare you both to be united in faith, love, and purpose, so that you can have a home which can be a place where God's presence dwells. So here's some practical tips that can build a prayer routine that you can adapt. Yeah. One tip is that set aside a specific time each day. Make praying for your future spouse daily habit, whether it is first thing in the morning or before bed. Set aside dedicated time to lift your future partner in prayer. The second thing, use a prayer journal. Write down your prayers. Keep a journal where you not only write what you're praying for, but also how you see God moving in your life and preparing you for the future marriage that you're preparing for. The third tip is that pray with expectation. Remember, when you pray, expect that God is working even if you don't see it right away. Trust His timing and be open to how He leads you. Yeah. I was encouraged. I have an aunt, Auntie Marin. I remember one of the prayers that she had where I was in her company with one of my cousins, his son. He prayed specifically. I was single, of course, looking for a wife. So he prayed a specific prayer to God. Bless my nephew. He's looking for a wife. Pray, bless him so that he can get the right wife. For someone who fears God. I remember after the prayer, my my auntie, my cousin, burst into laughter. Oh, mommy. And then she said, yes, yeah, that's a prayer request. Yeah. He needs a wife, and we have shared that. So I need to put that in prayer. It taught me actually one thing. It encouraged me to as well pray. And I believe that prayer was answered just a few months after that. And I also committed myself to prayer. So I believe prayer works. I don't regret my wife that I met. We are all human, we have our challenges, but I believe that was a prayer answered. So it's important to make that prayer. If you want a Christian partner, then you need to as a Christian, you need to pray about them even before you meet that specific person. Yeah. So I want to conclude by saying that prayer is one of the most powerful tools you can have as you prepare for marriage. By praying for your future spouse, you're not only asking for a godly partner, but also inviting God into your life to guide and shape you. Philippians 4 verse 6 reminds us that God hears our prayers. Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, including your preparation for marriage, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. So when you present your future spouse to God in prayer, you build a spiritual foundation that will carry you through your future marriage. So if you haven't already, I encourage you to start praying for your future spouse today. Trust God to bring the right person into your life at the right time. If you want more guidance on how to prepare for marriage through prayer and faith, grab a copy of my book, Ready for Marriage. In it, I share practical tips, insights, and biblical wisdom for building a Christ-centered marriage. So that will be the end of this video, and may God bless you even as you start praying for your future partner.